the RV Life Podcast. I'm Dan Hunt, and I'm going to ask the question, are you thinking about buying a new RV? Are you worried the quality might not be there? Well, today's guest has all the answers, and he's going to educate us today on what his company is doing about it. Now, we are at the Florida, I keep saying Tampa. We're at the Florida RV Super Show. This place is huge. And you might notice that Patty is not with us. Her mom, unfortunately, had to go to the hospital. We do hope she's feeling better as she's out there. And she is getting better every day. So Patty will catch up to us when we're in Orlando next week. But we are here in Florida. The sun, the water, the warmth. It just feels crazy. I went to an event last night and there was a cruise ship out there. It is incredible. The place is huge and there are a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people here. Okay, well, that horn means it's time for today's fun fact. And the fun fact for today is how many new RVs were delivered in 2022. Now, normally Patty would be answering that question and I would be taking you to the answer, but I get to do both sides today. So in 2022, the industry saw over 600,000 new vehicles hit the street. 11% of households in the U.S. now have some sort of RV, but there is a big change. Almost 20%, get this, 20% of the marketplace are 18 to 34. So younger people are really taking on this camping thing. So it's really great to see that these young people are taking that on. We are at the Florida Super Show. This is the RV Life Podcast. We are sitting in the middle of, I just can't even believe I'm going to say this, 2 million square feet of an RV show, 1,500 brands, hundreds of manufacturers, thousands of vendors. Over 80,000 people were here last year. They tell me 10 to 20% more people this year. I got to tell you, if you haven't been to an RV show, this is an experience and a half. And I got to tell you a little secret. This morning, I walked over to the barn at about 5 a.m. that's right across from where I'm camping. And the Clydesdales are there. And they are the most beautiful, majestic horses. I got to pet a Clydesdale. That might even be one of my bucket list items. But I'll tell you, they are just absolutely incredible. This is the RV Life Podcast. I'm Dan Hunt with my absent wife, Patty Hunt. And we will be back right after this.
Why end your camping season when it gets cold? With the inflatable RV skirting system from Air Skirts, you could extend your camping season year-round. Reach out to Jim and his team by visiting airskirts.com for more information. RV Life Podcast listeners get $100 off a kit order when you use code RVPOD. That is RVPOD for $100 off.
This RV Life podcast is sponsored in part by Clear 2O. Clear 2O continues to bring its expanding line of water filtration products to RVers with innovations such as their DirtGuard sediment pre-filter, their 1-micron solid carbon block inline water filter, and a wide variety of high-quality filters for your RV's whole house filter system. When it comes to clean water for your RV life, the answer is clear. Clear 2O. Visit clear20.com and use the coupon code RVLifePodcast to save an additional 5% on every purchase.
He served in the United States Marine Corps before starting his career in the RV industry, working with General RV and manufacturers like Monaco. I have one of those. Holiday Rambler, Forest River, before coming to Jayco in 2017, where he is now serving as, yes, the president, overseeing day-to-day operations. Welcome to the show, Ken.
Thanks, Dan. Glad to be here.
Well, we are really, really glad that you are here and really happy for people like you that are handling and making shows like this possible. It's really something special. You know, let's get started and get right into like who you are. I want you to think back, way back. Where'd you go to boot camp?
Parris Island, South Carolina.
Parris Island. We were just there a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Just a great place. First day of boot camp. Can you imagine 30 years? Okay, 40 years? 30 years? Something like that.
1989, whenever that was.
A long, long time ago. Can you imagine sitting in an RV show on an international podcast and being in the position and seat that you're in?
I can tell you, as an 18-year-old kid getting off a bus and at midnight in Paris Island, it's not even in your brain. You're scared to death. You're seeing drill instructors for the first time live and in person, not on TV. And as much as you think about it, as many times as you've seen it on TV, it's worse than that, especially for a scared 18-year-old getting off of a bus at midnight.
Are those guys really as mean as in An Officer and Gentleman? Lou Gossett Jr. just portrayed something that was just incredible. Are they really that mean?
I don't know if mean's the right word, but it comes across that way. They're definitely intimidating as can be. They're very serious about their business.
Okay, let's get into Jayco. You have 4 major brands.
Yep.
Let's break them down and talk about them. And start out with the brand name. Well, actually, can we go back to a little bit of history? It was actually owned by a family.
Yep.
And they actually ran the business before you came in.
Yep, absolutely.
So let's talk about that.
So Bontrager family, I guess 54 years ago, Lloyd and his wife Bertha started, he was working at StarCraft and started, wanted to build some pop-ups. They thought they had a better mousetrap with a pop-up lift system for camping trailers. They started in their chicken coop. That original chicken coop's just a couple miles from our campus today. So they ran that business for a lot of years. In 2015, made a family decision and chose Thor specifically to acquire their company. The Bontragers, Daryl stayed on up till December a year ago, when he made the decision to retire. But I came in 2017 as the vice president of sales of the motorized division. A couple years later, got towables, and then 2 years ago in June, became the president. But we're getting ready to celebrate 55 years of Jayco this coming year. Pretty unique in our industry, and we still have a lot of those same foundations that were built on and operating that way, but now owned and oversaw by Thor, our parent company.
So let's talk about Thor. And, I was at a dinner last night with a lot of RV owners and listened to people talking about Thor, the big bad wolf, gobbling everybody up. And I think that's kind of the feel that the boots on the ground guy has. But when I talk to people at your level or better, I feel like that's not the story that you guys tell. So can we talk about that, how it is to be under the thumb of a large corporation who actually kind of is a competitor in some of your lines?
Yeah, I mean, our biggest competitors are typically other Thor companies, but we interact with Thor on a level of human resources from a finance and reporting standpoint. I don't have anybody from Thor talk to me about what we're building and how many we're building or how we're building it. Clearly, there's expectations from a financial performance. But they give us the ability with capital. Since 2017, we've built, several million square foot of additional production and facilities. And if we were still privately owned, Bontrager-owned family company, we wouldn't have made those capital investments. So I think they give us the resources. They give us good direction. Obviously, when you start talking about things like health insurance and 401ks and safe harbor programs, those are real benefits of scale. But in regards to day-to-day operations outside of, again, the finance, the HR department, they're providing us resources of innovation and those kind of things, but certainly not involved day-to-day. I talked to, Bob Martin, the CEO, and it's more of a check-in. How's your business? Congratulations. They're looking at our financial performance, but I can tell you it doesn't feel restrictive in any way.
And you're echoing what other leaders of large companies have said on this show. So it's just nice to hear. Is there anything you think that we can do to change the perspective of the customer not just your customer, but the customer of all the brands that Thor owns, to make them not the big bad wolf?
Well, I can tell you, I think it's just a function of the proof's in the pudding. You got to remember, Thor's owned Airstream for a bunch of years. At this point, maybe 30 or 35. I've kind of lost track. And Airstream is still probably the iconic brand in the entire industry. And I think their president, Bob Wheeler, would tell you they operate independently with great resources from Thor. And we dealt with it early on in 17 when we came, and a luxury brand like Integra, everybody all of a sudden thinks Integra is part of Thor Motor Coach. Well, those are different companies. Thor Industries is a parent company, and they operate as a parent company. So I think it's just a matter of proofs in the pudding. I think we've proved it now on the Integra and Jayco side. I think Tiffin's going through that now. Everybody was freaked out that, oh my gosh, Thor Motor Coach took Tiffin, and not the case. Again, I think Lee would tell you down at Tiffin that they're operating exactly the same way. So I'm not sure we can, without just saying it and then proving it, that we need to do anything. Again, just proofs in the pudding. I've said it, but that's how I feel.
Okay, so let's break down your brands. As we're sitting here and I look out of this tent, that the AIM Rally Group has let us come in and do our podcast. We're so thankful to them. But there's a Jayco over there, and I talked to that gentleman last night. Let's break down the Jayco brands and what do they do, and what is the customer that you're trying to serve? Because who buys that is not the person that buys that great big Integra behind me.
Exactly right. Again, Jayco started rooted 50 plus years ago in building camping trailers. And as a lot of companies in the towable part of the business, camping trailers, and then traditional stick and tin trailers and laminate trailers and fifth wheels and toy haulers. And that's a big part of what we do. Predominantly, it was the bulk of what we did forever. A number of years ago, they got in the gas motorhome business, and we're a small part of that. Now, and as we roll here into 2017, the motorhome business starts to grow, and that's with traditional E450 cutaway Class E's and gas Class A's. They made an acquisition of Integra along the way, but one of the things with Jayco, and they wanted it to be so, is again being able to reach that customer all the way from that tent camper, pop-up, entry-level customer, and have them through the lifestyle all the way up to maybe a gas Class A as they transition through the other lines of a travel trailer, a fifth wheel, a Class C, and then a Class A. We do our Super C, the Seneca, which is another part of a growing segment. So I think it's a breadth. We're one of the unique companies in the entire industry at Jayco, branded Jayco, that does both motorized and towables.
Okay, let's go to across the field here. And we're sitting in front of a couple Tiffins, but primarily Integra's sitting out here. So let's talk about those a little bit.
Yeah, we, the Bontrager's made an acquisition of Travel Supreme a number of years ago, and looking for another destination for that customer. You take a customer all the way through their camping lifestyle of a young family and maybe empty nesting, and they may be more full timing, and they didn't have a place to go past that Class C and gas Class A. So they made an acquisition, a previous relationship with the Travel Supreme, another iconic industry brand, and brought that onto the Middlebury campus. And we've seen tremendous growth. We are as good at luxury diesel motorhomes as anybody. And when you see the Cornerstone, we're a segment leader in our flagship brand. So we now, with the Integra brand, have the ability again to start at an entry-level travel trailer and keep them in the family all the way up to 4-slide, 45-foot, 605 horsepower Cornerstone luxury diesel.
And, those are really, really luxury diesels. But, as I was researching you and looked at you, you spent some time in Monaco.
Yep.
I actually still drive a 2002 Monaco, and we travel all over the country. But my wife, Patty, had never camped. When we started this during COVID, she had Holiday Inn Express, that was camping to her. So I didn't think she was going to make it. So we bought something older to stay on the road. Tell me about your time at Monaco. I mean, that was really the queen of the road back in 2002, 3, 4. And I'll tell you what, the unit I have is held up like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, I came in 06 to Monaco as a sales guy coming from retail, getting on the manufacturer side after a year. Got the opportunity to become the national sales manager of Holiday Rammerl, who moved my family to Elkhart in 2007. 2007 happens to be the year before 2008. We all know what happened in 2008, but we were the leader of the industry. We owned the diesel market. I think when you look at a combined Monaco, Holiday, Safari, and Beaver, a product leader, a market share leader, pretty iconic brand, great industry people, a great dealer network, so many good things. Obviously tough way to finish with '08 as things changed,
right.
But the best diesel company at that point in the industry for sure.
Yeah, it really was. And, you know, the one thing that when people come into my motorhome, they look at the cabinets and they say, oh, my God, look at the way this thing is put together. It's, you know, the piano hinges and the real wood. It was really, really something.
We were vertically integrated at Monaco, so we built our own chassis. We had our own cabinet shop, our own countertop shop, and just not a lot of brands do that.
Okay, this has been a great conversation. We're going to get back to a little bit more right after a quick break. Patty's not with us, so we're going to let her do the commercial. And when we come back, we'll talk about how you guys managed through COVID and what it did to the industry as well as Jayco itself. You're listening to the RV Life Podcast.
When traveling in your RV, how do you navigate? Do you use a paper map, a GPS, or do you use Google Maps? Our sponsor, RV Trip Wizard, has the solution, and it just works.
It just works, and boy, does it work. RV Trip Wizard, less than $50 a year. It has saved me hundreds of dollars. It has saved me going on roads that I probably shouldn't have been on. And it also is just so easy to plan your trip from wherever you're going. Believe me when I say that Patty and I do not move 1 inch without first logging it in to RV Trip Wizard. 10% off. I'm sorry, 25% off now if you go and look at the discount code that is in the description below. Okay, Ken, we're talking about Jayco. We're talking about all the brands. Let's talk a little bit about the event that changed the world. It changed the way we do business. I sit on the board of a credit card company, and we physically don't have anybody come into the office that we have leases for the next 20 years. But it changed the way we do business. I think it changed the RV business as well as gave us in the RV industry a lot of headaches. Talk about what those headaches were and how you responded to them.
Well, I think like with everybody, when demand is so high and you have supply chain issues internationally that you just are unprecedented, you know, we want to increase production and build more. And in the midst of everything, we're on allocation for steel and aluminum and wood and generators and motorhome chassis, almost everything. So you find a way to continue to build product with quality, try to meet your dealer's demands, which we didn't meet any dealer's demands over the course of those couple years because whatever you could supply, they needed more than that. I think the primary source other than supply chain labor, really competitive labor market, unique in Elkhart County. If I sat here and told you what the hourly wages that we were paying these direct labor forces and still fighting to maintain, and then simply a matter of you needed more people to build more. And we were down to about 1% unemployment in Elkhart County. Everybody that wanted to work was working, bringing in people from the outside. So like most people, Dan, labor, supply chains, the challenges of trying to satisfy our dealers, trying to satisfy our customers to get what they wanted.
It's interesting that from your perspective, your customer is really the dealer. So the RV Life podcast listener is the end user. So it's from the dealer to the end user. And we'll have Brett on tomorrow and talk about his relationship with manufacturers. But I feel like in those 2 years, the demand has gone skyrocketed.
Yep.
And your ability, not just your ability, the industry's ability to deliver the product. I mean, we had computer components sitting in bays and we couldn't get the ships in because we couldn't unload them. So, you know, do you think we're over that hump? Do you think we've made it past, like, are we post-COVID times, or are we still kind of in it?
Today, there are still some supply chain constraints. However, as demand diminishes, decreases, and changes, it helps the supply chain catch up. It's better today. We're completing almost everything that we schedule to build offline, mostly complete. There was a stretch of time we were at 30, 40, 50% offline complete. We're way on the other side of that, still dealing with some chip issues, still dealing with some level of allocation as it relates to chips, but certainly past the brunt of that. And again, part of that, in my opinion, is less demand, more supply.
Right. Right. Now let's talk about something that I'm told is your absolute passion. As a matter of fact, I think it was explained to me that you call it your 3 pillars. And really that's the way you govern or run the company. And those pillars are quality, employee relations, and dealer relations. So let's break that down. And let's leave quality for the side. We'll have that as a separate conversation for a second. But let's talk about employee relations. What does that mean to you? And what kind of things do you do that you feel other major companies in the United States aren't doing right now?
Well, we genuinely believe that if we get the people part right, everything else works. Yeah. We think if everybody's aligned on the same goal and trying to do business the same way, it feels like we're invested in them, and then therefore they're invested in us. We think it makes the rest of the things easy. It thinks it's easy to put together a playbook on how we want to build product, develop product, ship product, etc. But it starts with people. You know, we were blessed to come to a company that had a great history of culture, treating people the right way, doing what they say they're going to do, built on, principles of faith and family and those things. And we've been able to take that really strong foundation and build on it. This 2 weeks ago or last week, I've lost track. We had, first person in all of Elkhart County. We opened a family health clinic. Yeah, we had an occupational health clinic for workers' comp, and we would allow people to go over, maybe employees specifically, if they had a problem. But we wanted to open that up to our families. We wanted to be able to provide something that they weren't getting elsewhere. So now imagine a young mom whose husband works at Jayco in the production facility. They have a couple sniffly noses. Instead of dragging them into the ER, instead of dragging them down to the urgent care and writing a check for a $75 copay, we can bring them into the Jayco Family Health Clinic. Along with that, from a preventative maintenance standpoint, really a fitness facility that, again, our employees, their family, our Integra diesel customers, Integra gas customers, Jayco motorhome customers that are in for factory service have the ability to use. And it's the best fitness facility in Middlebury where we live. And we're really proud of the money and time we've invested there. So we're trying to get to the root. We want to be their employee, their paycheck, their doctor, their fitness facility. Have great facilities. We're spending a lot of money on break rooms that are more than just a 6-foot plastic table and 2 chairs, new vending that provides healthy snacks, more than just a bag of Doritos and a soda. So we're working really hard to give them facilities they're proud to work in. And again, even more support from a family, and more than just say it, put our money where our mouth is.
It is so refreshing to sit here with you and hear about what your company is doing. I mean, I sit on the board of 2 other companies, and I have to say to you that what you're doing is remarkable. It's above remarkable. It's almost like superhuman to be able to put those kind of things out there for your employees. But it's more than that. It just shows that today, more and more, I think companies are more worried about the bottom line than they are about their employees. And I hear what you say, and I've talked to your people. I'm here amongst all these Integra owners, and it's that type of thing that just really touches us to the bottom of our heart. So thank you so much for doing that. Let's move on to dealer relations. How do you work your dealer relations differently than when Ford would come to me and say, you've got to take 50 Tauruses if you want 3 Mustangs. And that's really the way it was back in the 80s and 90s.
Yep.
You had to sell their dogs so you could sell the high impact stuff.
I think I have this innate ability in my brain probably to oversimplify things, and I think that's awesome. My wife doesn't think it's as awesome, but I think dealer relations are easy. I think you need to be a resource for your dealer. They have a company of their own and a group of team members, and therefore our mutual customers, but provide them a product that they're proud to put their name on and sell. If they sell it, they make money on it. They don't get beat up in the service department. We do what we say we're going to do from a taking care of the customer standpoint. I think it's pretty simple. They buy more. I think it really comes down to we are a product and services company, providing them a great product, again, that they can make money on. They're proud to put their name on. They're proud to sell to their customers. We stand behind the product. And then you develop a real relationships, as all relationships work. You invest heavily in it. You're able to take withdrawals on those relationships, and we've seen it. And we're really retail focused. I'm a retail guy. I have an equal amount of retail experience as I do wholesale, and being able to to provide them a resource of how to sell more RVs, how to make money, how to treat their customer the right way, and then looking at inventory, not just buy it because we're building it, but hey, let's look at the data, let's look at the numbers. What should we be retailing? What should the price point be? And again, looking at it from a perspective on how they can retail RV. If they retail it, again, they'll buy more.
They'll buy more. Okay, so now we're going to your third pillar.
Yep.
And your personal third pillar is quality. And I'm going to say, as I talk to people all over the country, and we speak at different events all over the country, the feeling of the consumer is that the consumer is the quality control for brand new units out there right now. And I am so happy to have done the research and listened to what you, and I've been with Trey for a half hour before you came over here, talking about your PDI facilities, which isn't just a statement of, quality is important. No, you're putting millions of dollars behind putting these plants together. Tell the listener what a PDI is, why is it important, and why it's going to change their buying experience in the future.
I'll start with saying, in the craziness of the COVID boom, we did not add additional production square footage. We rearranged lines. We changed which product was built in which facility. That we didn't go out and spend millions of dollars and add additional square footage for production space. We made the decision on the front side of COVID that we were going to add additional PDI facility, PDI pre-delivery inspection. We wanted to add another stop in the process to give ourselves one more opportunity to get that product. In the past, traditionally, quality auditors work in the plant. They still do, and they work for production. We continue that process, and you want to have checkpoints station to station to ensure that you're building as quality as best you can. We strongly feel, though, that with an independent facility, that leave productions, give it to a quality group that works for the VP of quality, not the VP of production. Look at it independently. Look at a systems and operations checks, as well as the visual checks along the way. A real checklist, doing it the same way every time. It gives ourselves a chance at better. I say all the time to customers, I said it last night at an Integra dinner, and this is not an excuse. These things are all built. It doesn't matter if a Cornerstone or a $10,000 J-Flight. These are all built by a bunch of dudes in a cornfield in northern Indiana.
Exactly.
We are not automated. We are not robotic. We have human capital building these things by their hand. We are starting to add more automation through the process. We have CNC routers to get that right. So we just feel like when you have the human factor, building them with quality, but adding another step for, again, an independent quality inspection with a checklist, doing it the same way every time. The goal is less defects. The even bigger goal is root of the defects. We find this, we continue to find this. Why do we continue to have this problem? As a result of that, we've been PDIing some level of motorhomes for 5-6 years. We've now gotten all of that, all of the Middlebury product, motorized and towable, Idaho, and then Shipshawana with the Starcraft and Highland stuff to 100% PDI. We're going to continue.
Wait. You just blopped over that. You're saying that 100%, 100%, now that's not what it says in the trade center. It says 90%. You're now telling me 100% of your product is going through one of your, is it 5 PDI facilities? Yep. 5 PDI facilities.
As of October, we are at 100%. Again, I'm not promising perfect, but we've seen over the course of a number of months, more than just October, as we got to 100% on motors and as we got to 100% on particular products, we see the results that show up at the dealer's lots. Again, these aren't perfect.
It's never perfect, but 100% go through that facility. That is worth, I mean, I think we all have to give that one a clap because I think that is absolutely incredible. But let's take a step backwards for a second.
Sure.
And the average user, the person at home that's listening to this podcast, and we're just going to do a little demonstration here on the table, and maybe I'll do a graphic and put it up on social media. You can see it on the RV Life podcast, social media at Facebook and Instagram. But let's say that piece of paper in front of you right there, that's the factory.
Yep.
And you have some quality control on a step-by-step basis in the factory.
We do.
But then that Integra that's sitting right over there gets done in the factory, and it moves to the PDI facility.
It does.
And then when it goes from the PDI facility, it then goes out to your dealer network.
Well, we actually go from production to PDI, back to production to work off. We want the production group, root causes, why and how, work off the defects. In the case of Integra Diesel, back through to the PDI facility. And what we hear consistently from our dealers, again, not perfect, but better product than it was previously.
You know, that is just amazing steps that you have taken. And without getting into the cost and the matters of that, I can't imagine that that's paying for the capital investment in the first couple of years. Is it a cost? Where was the impetus behind this? Putting a better product on the road, helping the customer out more, or affecting the bottom line? Because in the first 5 years, it can't affect the bottom line. It's got to be more expensive to put something like that together, right?
Well, clearly there's an initial capital investment that's significant, but I do think there is a return in regards to dealer relationships and customer relationships and retaining employees and retaining customer relations, getting an opportunity at that second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth unit. So more than just the bottom line, but we do believe, and we've seen results, that there is a return on that investment in a really big way from an employee, dealer, and an end user customer benefit as well. And then guess what? The goal is less warranty dollars.
Less warranty dollars
At some point do affect your bottom line.
Right. Okay. So we've been going about 30 minutes now. Let's finish this up, and I'm gonna put you a little bit on the spot. Okay, just a little bit on the spot. Pretend you're Kreskin from the Johnny Carson show. Remember that guy?
Yep.
He had this look into the future. Is there something that, without trade secrets out there, is there something that you can see coming in the future that people are really asking for, that they really want, or that you guys are looking at trying new besides electric?
Well, yeah, there's everything. I mean, we're looking at additional power sources as you know, legislation changes around state by state for emission type things. We're looking at new power sources for generator replacement type stuff. We're currently building units with lithium batteries on board. We're looking at more consumer app-based products that affect the end user's day-to-day use of the product and their experience. So we're fully invested in innovation. We have a complete innovation department with Thor that we work hand in hand in, and working on those types of product like automation. We had a big display at our open house in Elkhart County this last September, showing a future automated line, showing some robotic weld stuff, and again in partnership with Thor's innovation group, and then certainly things like battery technology, consumer app-based products, additional electronic stuff. We're really forward thinking there, and our industry forever was forward thinking. Thought forward thinking was the next 3 to 5 years. We're looking over the horizon now for the first time in my experience in the industry.
We are talking with Ken Walter. He is the president and CEO?
And CEO.
President and CEO of Jayco. And I have to tell you, before he sat down, I asked, is there anything you don't want me to talk about? He said, no, you can talk about anything. So this has been a really candid conversation, and we really appreciate you being here. Stick around for me, would you? We have a couple questions from our live audience here. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this. I'm Dan Hunt, and you're listening to the RV Life Podcast by RVinsurance.com.
Really good.
Getting proper insurance coverage for RVers can be difficult, as the RV lifestyle tends to take us away from our stated coverage area. The RVer Insurance Exchange can help RVers navigate tricky waters of health insurance and find a policy that travels with you, so you can enjoy RVing without worrying that your policy won't cover you. The agents at RVerinsurance.com are real RVers that understand the unique needs of those enjoying the RV life. Visit RVerinsurance.com or call 1-800-867-4330 and let the experts at RVer Insurance work for you. National Indoor RV Centers with over 1,000 motorhomes available across multiple locations. National Indoor RV Centers continues to provide an outstanding hassle-free motorhome ownership experience. National Indoor is the #1 Newmar dealer in the nation and also features brands like Integra, Winnebago, and much more. Visit NIRVC.com and become a part of the National Indoor RV Centers family. This is Dan Hunt in the RV Life Podcast. Patty's not with us today. She's back up in Philadelphia taking care of some family issues. She'll be back with me in Orlando next week. Ken, let's just real quick talk about this show. Wow, what a show. I mean, it's just so many different things. What's your impression from a manufacturer? This is the manufacturer's show.
It is.
So tell me what you're looking at, and is it successful from your point of view?
Day one, great traffic. I live in northern Indiana, obviously 70 degrees and sunny. It gets you in the right mindset, but we had great traffic. I haven't seen the gate number yet from Florida RV Trade Association, but my expectations that it was a good first day from a sales perspective. We use everything as a measuring stick against last year in the COVID boom often, but this is one of the best years as a first day sales that we've had in our display. So we're really pleased with the amount of people through the product, the feedback on the product, and then we're proud of the results.
Now, you said something to me during the break. National Indoor is not here because they don't really have a franchise here in Florida. So they're not officially here at the show, but they are the #1 Newmar dealer. And I think you said that they're also the #1 Integra dealer.
Yeah, they're our #1 Integra dealer. Yeah.
And that is really something, the owner is sitting right behind us over there, Brett, just a really genuine person. And I can see why people want to come here. I mean, it's just really, really something special what these guys put together. Okay, it's time now for that time of the week. It's one of my favorite things. It is the RV Life Pro Tip of the Week with Patrick Buchanan.
RV Life makes it easy to share your exciting RV trip with friends and family via the RV Life Trip Wizard. To share a trip with another Trip Wizard user, first open your trip, click on the wrench icon, and choose Share Trip. Now click Share Trip with another TripWizard user and enter the email address that person uses for their own TripWizard account and click Send. Your friend or family member will find your trip in their own TripWizard account under Tentative Trips, where they can view, copy, or even change the trip according to their own needs. If you simply want to share a view of your trip, even to those without an RV Life Pro account, simply choose Visitor View after clicking Share Trip and create a shareable link that allows others to see your RV journey just as you've planned it. I'm Pat Buchanan with your RV Life Pro Tip of the Week.
We are at the Florida Super Show. It is just incredible here. And we're going to go into a segment right now that I like to call the question of the week. Now, if you have a question out there as a listener, go to our social media. That's Facebook. That's Instagram. I think we have a TikTok play. We got all of them out there. Just go to the page, put your question out there, and then get us contact information. We'll reach out to you. We'll put you on tape, and hopefully we can have you ask the question for us. Now, today we have a question from our studio audience, and that is pretty darn cool. So our question of the week today comes from our blogger friend. Why don't you go up, introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, tell us what kind of RV. You have an Integra.
We do.
You're one of those. So step up to the microphone and ask your question for us. As close as you can get to that microphone would help, though.
Okay, thanks, Dan. My name is Sherry Caldwell, and we are full-time RVing in our 2016 Integra Aspire. And well, the question initially was, we were surprised when we went to visit the factory that it was owned by Jayco. We weren't even aware of that. And so the question was, it's amazing how you manage such distinct brands and experiences. Is there any crossover in design or equipment?
There's certainly some level of crossover when you produce products. Being able to have some level of standardization is good. The number of SKUs that you use on windows and wallboards and laminates, etc., is better for production, which results in better quality. When I think about specifically our Integra Diesel stuff, we have a very specific design and development team that their only job is Integra Diesel. Pat Carroll, 40-year industry veteran. We have the very best development of product guy in the industry ever in regards to luxury diesels, and his only job is to develop, nurture, and grow Integra Diesel. Our engineering team that supports that does specifically Integra Diesel. All the other products are the same. We have a Jayco Tobel engineering and development team, even down the individual product development directors for specific products. So I think from an operations standpoint, yes, we're able to have shared knowledge, standardization, some in regards to engineering practices and limiting SKUs from a purchasing standpoint. But we want each and every product to have a unique personality, and it does by having unique fingerprints of their development team, product development director.
You know, it is just so refreshing to hear you talk. And this has just been a very, very inspiring show. So thank you, Ken, so much for being here and being so open with us about what you do and how you do it. I have to say to the people, the listeners out there, if you don't know what it takes to run a large company, it takes a very special person, a very special brain to be able to see and look at 60 problems a day, every single day, and not just be a fireman and just be putting fires out, but be building for the future. So thank you, Ken, for what you do every day for this industry.
I appreciate you taking the time, Dan. Thanks a bunch.
This is the RV Life Podcast. I'm Dan Hunt. We are missing my lovely wife, Patty Hunt. She is up taking care of her mom. She will be back with us in Orlando. Again, I'm Dan Hunt. We are live at the Florida RV Super Show 2023. Thank you all for listening, and we'll be back tomorrow live from the Super Show.